Okay. Okay, in this video tutorial, I'm going to talk about rendering your turntable animation. And for more advanced rendering, you can look at my earlier video tutorials. It'll have like a car render, for instance. And that goes deeper into the settings here. So this is going to be really basic, just kind of showing you how to get the animation going. So under Workspace, you just want to be sure to work under Rendering Standard. You need to be sure that your project is set correctly, right? So just double check that. And so the main thing that we're doing is we're just going under these common settings and changing this up a good amount because we have some settings in here, but let me just double check this real quick. So under imagers, you just want to make sure that a denoiser is turned on right there. So just that's a good thing to double check is Arnold Render. And under imagers, make sure that there's a denoiser turned on. Otherwise, your animation is going to come out really grainy. So in this version of Maya, that's on there by default. But if you're on an older version of Maya, or if your settings are set up incorrectly, so this is Maya 2025, then that could be a big problem for your render. So just double check that. So again, Arnold Render, imagers, make sure there's a denoiser. If something shows up right there, don't touch it, you're good to go. So over here, we can change some of these settings. And so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go under image format. And in this case, you can choose whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to choose a PNG setting. I could also choose JPEG. It's really your call. Maybe for this video tutorial, I'll do JPEG. And so right here, I need to double check the path. And so right now this is going into my images folder in my project directory. So really be sure to double check this. So I'm working on my desktop. This is the name of my project and I want it to go into my images folder. So that's great. I need to now, you see this is set to render as a single frame, which is not what I want. I want a name number extension. So I'm going down to the third option. And you want to make sure that you have a 4 frame padding for your render. And I guess I'm doing JPEG on this one. PNG would also be good. I'll do a PNG. Let's see here. And I don't want an alpha channel because I already have the background, but I do want to name this. So I'm just going to call this online demo. And scrolling down, so right now if I were to render this would be a 10 frame animation. If you look at my previous video tutorial on the turntable, this is a 72 frame animation, so I'm going to have this be 72 frames. And I want this to render from my camera, not my perspective view. All right, so again, look at my previous video tutorial on the turntable. But yeah, make sure it's rendering from the camera. And under the resolution, so this is going to be an important one. So I'm going to choose 1920 by 1080. You could also, that'll show up as HD 1080 is the name of the preset. So you'll just have to scroll down a little bit and find the preset called HD 1080. So that moves it to an SD format. And from here, I think we're looking good. But I'm just going to quickly just go to Arnold Render and just check what this looks like. And oh, right, 3D manipulation's turned on, so I can't zoom out. There we go. So, that's essentially what my render is going to look like. Again, I want your models to be textured and all that, but this is just concentrating on the nuts and bolts of getting this thing exported. So from there, we should be ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to render and batch render. And sometimes render sequence, maybe it's on some computers I've seen this where batch render didn't work and render sequence worked, and I've seen it the other way around. So you might have to play around with this a little bit, but I'm going to do batch render. And I'll press batch render. And so you can see we have the script editor going on down here. And so it says rendering with Arnold. And I'm going to give it just a second here to think about things. All right, and so you can see that this is working its way through the render. And so let me see if I can make this view just a little bit bigger. So that's the percentage of a render. And something else I can do to kind of check as this is updating is I think it's really important to have too many programs running. This is, I'm obviously screen recording right now, but that I also have Substance Painter up in Chrome. What I recommend you do is just be sure all programs are closed out before you start doing this. And let me just check under my Finder view, and you can see my desktop is set up not very well right now. This is the end of the semester, so things are kind of crazy here. But you can see, you can double check these renders as they're happening. And this will take a little while, right? So this looks like, these are pretty quick renders by Maya standards. So it looks like I'm probably on pace to render 4 frames per minute. So this 72 frames, let's say it's going to be 5 frames per minute. I can hear my computer really working hard now. But yeah, so this will give me a PNG sequence, and we can eventually render this, or sorry, take these and open them in After Effects or Premiere.